Hello, I'm Mark Freudenberger. I'm from Tetra Tech ARD in Burlington, Vermont. It's a pleasure today to be with you on this course focusing on the very fascinating and complex issue of resource tenure, climate change, and environment. We'll be on an adventure today. We'll be on an adventure exploring the impacts, the causes, and the responses to a very complex, poorly understood issue of the interplay between climate change and resource tenure. But first of all, I'd like to give you a little bit of my background. I grew up in southern Africa in the country of Congo or Zaire when I was a kid. Lived there for 10 years and grew up in an area that was very pristine at that time, where the impacts of climate change, of course, were not even imagined at the time. But then after graduating from college, I joined Peace Corps and worked in Togo and later on for master's and doctoral studies at UCLA. I lived in Senegal for 7 years, where this issue of desertification and the changing environment was a focus of my research. Afterwards, I had the opportunity to work with the World Wildlife Fund for a number of years and ended up finally for 11 consecutive years in Madagascar. In Madagascar, I really began to encounter these issues of climate change and tenure, and it's from that perspective that I've developed a passion for this issue that I would like to share with you today, the complex, unknown, and unfolding events around climate change, a global phenomena of very great importance to you and me. So what will we do in this module today? We're going to try to define and be able to explain how land tenure and resource rights relate to efforts to mitigate and adapt systems and livelihoods to climate change. Our second objective will be how to understand the subsequent readings that have been assigned by me and others and be able to assess the suitability of the introduced land tenure and property rights and climate change adaptation issues into programmatic activities that each one of you can carry out in the countries where you are and will work in the future. And thirdly, we'll be discussing with and identifying for our implementing partners that each of us work with how land tenure and property rights issues may be integrated into discussions around vulnerabilities around climate change, and we'll be looking at how to promote climate change adaptation and mitigation within USAID and other U.S. government programs. The outline for this module follows 4 major steps. Our first part of this adventure today will be to look at part 1, which is a description of the problem of the impacts of climate change on resource tenure. Our second part will be responses, looking at how one can adapt to climate change impacts. Part 3 will be a focus on responses as well. How can one respond to climate change through mitigation? We'll be ending up in part 4, looking at the implications of climate change and tenure on U.S. government and USAID programming with some very clear takeaways.